there, welcome to today's story session. In today's story session, we will be traveling to the great village of Edgaji and its mysterious healing river that was lost a long time ago by the ancestors of the Edgaji kingdom. As we dive into the mystery and the discovery of the great Edgaji river, take a deep breath, sit tight, and enjoy. Long ago, in the ancient times, there was a great kingdom in the midst of the woods, and in the center of the mountains, the Edgaji kingdom. Beneath the Edgaji kingdom was a great old river that was said to have the ability to heal the sick and raise the dead. Rumors had it across all the neighboring kingdoms that whoever is given the water from the Edgaji river to drink will forever and never die. And because of this, the people of Edgaji were highly respected and feared, making people from other neighboring villages abandon their homes to come and live in the Edgaji kingdom. This made them the biggest kingdom of their time. As time passed, so many kingdoms and villages tried to wage war against the people of Edgaji, to kill them and take their river. But none ever prevailed. This made the kingdom of Edgaji so feared and respected, raising concern in the hearts of other kingdoms. They began asking, how can we destroy this people? How can we drive out their river? And at the cost of these curiosities, 7 mighty kingdoms gathered together to dig in and find out about the great Edgaji river. And as they began to dig deep, they came across an old woman who happened to be an ancient witch, who had lived more than 1,000 years. Nothing was hidden in her sight. Quickly, the messengers gave news of the old witch to the 7 kings. And immediately they heard of it, joy erupted in their midst, as they began their journey to the old woman's hut. Finally, the secret of this kingdom shall be uncovered, one of the kings said as they continued on their journey. After several days on dry and empty roads, the kings finally met the old witch. And the old lady, in a fearful calm voice, said, "What brings you to my home?" And the kings replied, "Evil has befallen us, as the people of Edgaji have prevailed over all the nations, using the help of the great Edgaji river. We have come to know the source of that river, and how we can bring it to our own kingdoms. For we have heard that there was a way to drive the river to our own land. Woman, please help us," one of the kings said. The woman smiled and stayed silent for a while. And after some tense silence, the woman began to narrate.
Long ago, in ancient Edgaji, there ruled a king named King Afonso. King Afonso was a brave king, who feared nothing, and was willing to do anything for the betterment of his people and the kingdom. In those times, there was great war and conflict between the nations. The great river of Gahatsi, known today as the Edgaji River, was far away, mixed with the oceans. The people often traveled far to the oceans, to pray to the gods for a cup of the Gahatsi River. If the gods were merciful, they would receive a cup. But most times, those who went returned empty-handed. And this continued until a war broke out among all the nations. The battle was so fierce that King Afonso, the king of Edgaji, was badly wounded and close to death. In that final moment, the king rolled toward the mixed Gahatsi River to see if the gods would show him mercy. And behold, an ancient old man appeared before him. The king pleaded, "Please help me beg the gods for a cup of the Gahatsi River, for I am dying." The man smiled and said, "I am the guardian of this river," and immediately the king bowed and said, "May the gods be praised." The man smiled and said, "Young man, I was about to leave this world to dwell in the spirit world with my ancestors, alongside with the Gahatsi River. For I have grown old, and my time has come. Today, I hand over everything to you. But promise to protect it with your life." Still confused and close to death, the king agreed. The old man now gave him a round stone and said, "This is the stone that controls the great Gahatsi River of life." King Afonso reluctantly took the stone and walked to the ocean. And behold, the ocean divided, and the Gahatsi River separated, and he drank from it, and he returned to life. And he smiled broadly as his heart was filled with so much joy. But the old man said, "Do not let any hand touch this stone, or let it leave your kingdom. For the day another hand touches it and it leaves your kingdom, the river also shall leave your kingdom."
Then the king, still confused, stood speechless, and was trying to understand what the man meant by, "Any day the stone leaves your kingdom, the river also shall leave your kingdom." And as he was still contemplating on these words, the old man disappeared into the river. And the king left with the stone, and the great Gehatzi river followed him back to the Edgaji kingdom. And on that day, the people of Edgaji returned from the battle victorious, using the river to heal the sick and raise their dead, and joy was filled in their soul, and they began to rejoice. The woman finished and said, "This is how the Gehatzi river became the great river of Edgaji. And for you to destroy the Edgaji kingdom, you must steal the ancient Gehatzi stone from the ancient tombs behind the center of the mountain waterfall." And she left. The kings went home, and began to plan to send a spy that would uncover the stone and steal it. And they successfully executed their scheme. And they planted a spy in Edgaji to go and steal the stone, as they planned to wage war against them to keep them confused. During the war, the spy went into the caves where the stone was safely kept and stole the stone and began to move out of the kingdom. And suddenly, the river began to leave the kingdom, and the king of Edgaji, when he saw this, began to pursue the spy with his men. Unfortunately, the stone fell, and disappeared into the mountains, and the river vanished. And the king wept and cried, as many of his people were killed, and many enslaved. And for years the king and the people searched for the stone, but never found the stone. After so many years of darkness and suffering, the people of Edgaji wept and mourned dearly for the loss of the stone, losing all hope in the return of the stone. Until one day, after so many years of seeking to find the stone, a boy named Jack, while hunting, from afar saw a very shiny object that caught his attention. Curious to know what the object was, he began to go closer to the place where the light was coming from, and behold, it was a white shiny stone. Jack was stunned by this, and he said to himself, "How can an ordinary stone like this be so shiny, carrying so much light?" he said. "Can this stone be something sacred?" he asked. After thinking for a while, he quickly picked the shiny stone and put it in his bag and began to head home to show it to his father. "Maybe he might know what it is," he said. Then, as he reached home, he saw his father in front of the house, chopping down logs of firewood. Then he said, "Father, Father, look what I found," as he brought out the stone from his bag. And his father asked, "Son, where did you get this from?" Jack answered, "From the forests while hunting." And suddenly, the father began to shout, "Gehatzi, Gehatzi!" as he screamed with so much joy. "Gehatzi is back. The stone of the Edgaji river is back." Then, he rushed to the king's palace with his son to show him the stone. As they approached the king and gave him the stone, saying, "The stone of Gehatzi has been found," the king rejoiced greatly as he sent out to call the wise men of Edgaji. Soon news reached the people's ears, and they all began to come to the palace to celebrate and rejoice. And the wise men came in. Immediately, the king handed the stone to them, saying, "The stone has been found." And the wise men went into the cave and placed the stone back to where it was taken from. And for a moment the whole place went silent, as there was no sign of the river. The people disappointed. The king confused. "What is happening?" he said. And suddenly, a sound like of a rushing wind was heard from a distance, and they people suspiciously went to check in the place where the river was before. And behold, the Edgaji river has returned. Joy filled their heart as they rejoiced and celebrated, praising Jack, the brave boy who found the stone. And after that day, Jack was declared prince of Edgaji kingdom. And his father became royalty, as a reward of returning the stone back. And from that day going forward, peace and harmony was restored back to the Edgaji kingdom. And joy never ceased from their hearts.
And that brings us to the end of today's story session. I hope you truly enjoyed it. If you did, let us know your favorite moment in the comments below. And for more story sessions like this, subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified whenever a new story is published. And that will be the end for now. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story session.